Senegal, a small state in West Africa on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. Here they got out to sea on their colorful boats. This is simply the pinnacle of Senegalese boating art. Magic items are sold in front of the mosque. There are the heads of some snakes. They practice polygamy there. Mom gave you the first wife, you got the second because you are 30 years old, you have a crisis. Then at 40 you have a second crisis. And at 50 you have a third crisis. And then you have a heart attack, that's it. And they love football. If you play well, you'll become a famous football player. Today I will tell you about Senegal. Before I start, don't forget to like the video and leave a comment. Senegal is a wonderful country, few people seem to know it, but many knows its capital, Dakar. Everybody knows the Dakar Rally, although the rally itself has been non-existent for a long time. More precisely, Dakar is no longer on its route. The country itself is quite developed by African standards. The majority of the population is Muslim, but the people here are quite open-minded. You can buy excellent Spanish ham in stores. Alcohol is not sold at every turn, but you can have a beer without any problems. Women mostly go bareheaded, and some wear quite revealing outfits. They say there are even legal or semi-legal gay bars here, which is absolutely unthinkable for other Muslim countries. It's safe in Senegal. People in general are very friendly. Many don't like to be filmed, but you will not face any aggression on the streets. A Senegal visa is issued right at the airport. And that's it. You enjoy the African sun, jogging by the Atlantic Ocean. But first, let's take a look at Dakar, which attracted the toughest racers of the planet from 1978 to 2009. By the way, during my motor rally across Africa 10 years ago, I also visited Dakar. Here are the famous Senegalese traffic jams. People are going by minibus. On the buses they have this wooden platform behind them, where you can ride for free. Some actually do. Everything for witchcraft, so do you have any road teeth? There are some dried monkeys here, some snake heads. These are skins, these are the claws of chicken heads, horns, and magic herbs. Amazing. All this takes place in front of the central mosque of Dakar. Oh, whoa, whoa, I want chicken now! Look at the gorgeous woman on the ads. The central mosque is somewhat reminiscent of mosque in Casablanca, Morocco. One of minaret looks alike. The water is sold in sachets. Oh, this is coconut juice. Well, you see, everything is covered in crap. And then it all remain here. Oh, beautiful! Come on, wow! Awesome! Bonjour! How beautiful! Look at these pillows! Hello, hello? Suddenly sidewalks transform into markets. Automotive markets transform into jewelry markets. And you can become very beautiful. Dior! Look, I knew that one of them was stealing ideas from the others. You can buy literally everything. Even hair. Dakar is located on the Cabo Verde Peninsula, which protrudes into the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, Dakar is the westernmost city in the continental Africa. Just 150 years ago, Dakar was a military post of the French who colonized Senegal. In 1902, it became the capital of all of French West Africa, which included the territories of 8 modern countries. And during World War II, Charles de Gaulle tried to make Dakar a center of resistance of the Free France to the German invaders. But his plan failed. Now Dakar is a millionaire city, the capital and financial center of Senegal, which has preserved its colonial French heritage. This is Dakar Central Station. Someone reconstructed the train station for them. It is just like after renovation. I'm not sure that there are really trains going anywhere from here, but here is the station square, brand new street lights. You can even call this a public space. The station's rules are strict. There is a guard at the entrance. He does not let anyone in, because the interior is still undergoing renovation. Therefore, you cannot enter inside, but through the glass you can see that they made a good renovation there. Everything is so clean, beautiful. There's even ads on some fancy trains. Maybe they will even have nice trains going here, which is amazing for Africa. This is the main cathedral in Dakar. The cathedral, by the way, is surprisingly very beautiful. It is rare to see a beautiful cathedral of unconventional architecture. Walking the streets of Dakar is not easy. Sidewalks, if there are any, are either parked or there are some kind of improvised markets on them. But more often than not, there are simply no sidewalks. Senegal is a Muslim country. Formally, the main law here is the constitution, and according to it, Senegal is a secular state, where you can practice any religion. But the second largest city in the country is Touba. It is a completely different world. The city is a Muslim religious center, with one of the largest mosques in all of Africa. In fact, Touba is a state within a state. According to the law, of course, it is still Senegal, but in fact, they have their own rules here, their own police, and at the head is the great Marabout. Even the president of the state has to defer to him. So this is Touba, the second largest city in Senegal. More than 500,000 people live here, and it's famous primarily for its mosque. The stunning streets of Touba, I really want to walk here. And here you can see local minibuses. They buy old cargo vans in Europe, cut out windows like this, and make passengers vans out of them. There are metal benches inside. Very comfortable. And here is the waste sorting center. So the bottles are washed here, and there are Perrier bottles, and even jars, you can buy them here. And here you can buy all of this. This is for sale. You can buy plastic bottles here. Various remotes and all that. And this is not even flea market, but a garbage market. Everything that is more or less of decent state, it is sold here. Sorted like this, there are sockets, wires, spoons, forks. This is an ice-age squirrel. Here it is. We found it. Amazing. This is actually an ice-age squirrel, which it turns out that its skin is being sold in the trash market. In Touba, Senegal. This is very center of Touba. It looks just gorgeous when you look at all these beautiful sites. I want to visit a website of some real estate agency and see how much housing costs here. Yeah, and the dude is selling some... this is toothbrush, here. And here is the furniture. They make furniture right here. You can buy such a bedside table or a bed here. License plates on their taxis. There are quite a lot around the city. Most importantly, of course, they decorate the heads of donkeys. In addition to the standard decor, they sometimes attach soft toys there. Something else too. So, well, the audio advertising is super loud here. Everyone seems to have a little loudspeaker. They are shouting from all sides. How can you understand who is selling what is not clear at all? So here the people are packed to go somewhere. They are boarding the minibus. Here's the taxi station. All that, these horses, these donkeys are all taxis. Here you can sit in the cart like this and go on a journey along the beautiful Touba. Here the owner does not want me to take pictures of how he decorated the horse, he even attached toys to it. Here you can board this minibus. It is the shade so that passengers are comfortable while waiting for everyone to board. Surprisingly, here among donkeys and horses, there are even BMWs, for example. Just terrible traffic jams. Everything is mixed up. In general, donkeys are not very maneuverable. Because of this, there are situations like this on the road. But in fact, there is nothing to see in the city except mosque, and the mosque is quite interesting. All the minarets are of different heights. Minaret is a tower at a mosque from which the faithful are called to a prayer. It looks unusual. The story about the mosque in Touba itself should start with Maribs. Otherwise, it is simply impossible to understand what Touba is. The city is the center of Mouridism, one of the forms of Sufism. This is a mystical trend in Islam. The founder of Mouridism is Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba Mbake. He took the pursuit of peace and hard work as the basis of his teaching. Politically, Ahmadou Bamba was known as a religious leader who fought against French colonialism by peaceful means. He was the one who founded the city of Touba a few years later after creation of Mourid Brotherhood, and began to build the main mosque here, which took over 75 years to be built. Ahmadou Bamba died in 1927 and was buried here in the mosque when the foundation was not even completed. The construction was completely finished only in 1963. For a long time, Touba was a very small town, but after the construction of the mosque, people from all over Senegal began to come here. Today, together with the suburbs, the city is the second most populous in the country. But a little more than a half a century ago, all the inhabitants of Touba could fit in the mosque. Religious leader and teacher of Murids is called Marabout, and his followers explore and learn the Quran outside of the bustle of the world and under the guidance of the teacher. Touba is an autonomous zone with a special legal status. Every aspect of life is controlled by Brotherhood, including education, healthcare, drinking water supply, public works, market management, and land real estate. And for the Murids, Touba is a sacred place, where all illegal, frivolous activities are prohibited, such as the use of alcohol and tobacco, and the Brotherhood controls almost everything here. Here on Fridays, 1,800 carpets are spread everywhere because 30,000 people come here to pray on Fridays. Do I get it right that here in Touba there is nothing at all besides the mosque? Is the whole city a mosque? Well, no, this is not a city. This is private property here. It is not a city. There is an official city of Mbake not far from here. It was historically like that everyone came to the Caliph, and he gave a little bit of his land to build a house, and gradually there appeared a huge agglomeration, but they all live in the invitation of the Caliph and the Caliph's family. How families are welcomed here is also very important, because they usually set the table very nicely for guests. Very tasty. Meshwi here is absolutely unique. Meshwi is a grilled meat splatter. So when you come to Touba, you have to stay here for 2-3 days and go to people's houses from one family to another.
Every Friday morning, the volunteers come to put the 300 carpets on. And 2 days this morning, you see a team of 600 women was here to clean every Thursday morning. Volunteers, it's very nice to see them. They are dressed in blue. All the mosque is blue and Thursday morning. And tomorrow, men come to put the carpets on because we are waiting about 6,000 persons every Friday. And all this part is for men. We are front of Mecca is from here. All this first part are men and women separate. The last room behind is the women's section.
She says that we are all here just for the sake of life. We all believe in God and we all do it for God's sake. So please don't worry. We're all very glad that you are take our photos and we wish you all the best. Touba is special in fact because it's not a city. Administratively, it's not recognized as a city, but exists. Because when the French first run Serigne Touba out of town, as he was a religious figure and a leader during colonization, and they took him to a remote place and said not to leave the territory. It is your territory, you cannot leave it. And they hoped he would stay there and everyone would forget him, and his followers left Dakar and went to him. and they began to live with him, work with him, and gradually began to create families. Little by little, the Touba began to grow, since he could not leave it. By order of the French, everyone came to him, and it became a place of honor where everyone comes to learn the Quran and how to pray together on Fridays, and listen to the religious leader. And today the situation is that this whole city stands on private property, and the land does not belong to the people who live here. It belongs to the family, and they give you the right to build or live with them. I remember when I was a child, when I lived here, electricity and water were free, and we just lived and helped develop the culture of the Mourids. They have very large gardens. They have a lot of different businesses. You work there for free and live for free.
So it's just like communism.
Well, I would say it's faith, because they all worshipped him.
If you like my videos, you can also follow me on social media. I post pictures and videos from my trips there and share stories about life in Russia and around the world. You will also find announcements of the videos I publish and some behind-the-scenes moments. I have already posted amazing pictures from Japan, Eritrea, Iceland, Kyrgyzstan, and many other countries on my Instagram, as well as photos from different Russian cities. For example, this is a diamond quarry in Yakutia. It is 1.4 kilometers in diameter, which makes it the second largest open pit mine in the world, after Mwadui in Tanzania. I've also recently shared a video from Russia's most depressing city, Vorkuta, on Reddit. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok. If you aren't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, do it now so you don't miss new videos. Senegal is not a country of cities at all. According to 2020 estimates, out of 17 million population of the country, no more than 5 million live in cities. But the villages here are huge. There are thousands of people living there, and the villages' bazaars are full of real African flavor. And this is a simple market, a rustic market. The market is very colorful because they sell beautiful fresh vegetables right on the ground, and people are wearing traditional clothes. And it's interesting how they deliver things here. In the carts, drawn by horses. What an amazing market! These beautiful vegetables laid right on the ground. But people do not really like to be photographed, so everyone waves their heads. They say they want me to take pictures. So only our friendliness will melt the hearts of the locals. Hello? Can I take a picture of you? Okay, their hearts didn't melt. And everyone is in incredible outfits. They brought some not very fresh fish. It is dried and covered in... I can't understand. People are sorting it out now. And here they brought vegetables, fresh vegetables. Now they are being unloaded here. So fish... What an awesome market. Very beautiful. I'm just trying to understand what the fish is covered in. Ah, this is salt. This is just salted fish. With flies. In general, a fresh catch. Hello, hello. What's for lunch today? Oh, beans. They have beans for lunch. Yeah, amazing. Very interesting. See, all these little condiments are sold in small bags. There's pepper, garlic, packed in several cloves. Just an amazing market. Look how beautiful. Tomatoes, vegetables, incredible women in their incredible dresses. Hello. Hello, hello. Bonjour. Ça va? Ça va. Now that's all I know in French. To better understand the life in a Senegalese village, I decided to tour it with a guide. 80% of our villages are like this. Is this like an ordinary Senegalese village?
Yes, and not a rich one. For example, if you live in Samon, in those villages around Samon, people are considered rich. They have a lot of brick houses there. She says most don't get paid, but they work on a barter basis. You gave something to me, I gave something to you, and so on. But for her, for example, she considers a good day when she earns around 750 or 1,000 francs or $1.5 per day. And that means what she bought versus what she sold, her profit was $1.5. So $1.5 a day is a good money for her? Yes, that's good money because for her, it's some extra money she can spend. So she studied at school. We have a special school in which they learn local languages and simple metrics. And what she does here, she does what we call tantina. In many countries that are developing, it's when women put money together every day and give it to one person. Well, they worked for a whole week. They gave 500 each week, and there are many of them, and one person that receives the whole amount, next week another person gets the sum, and so on. And so she keeps the book so that she knows to whom the money was given and when. So they usually chip in 250 francs a week. If there is an event that you need to organize, like a wedding, childbirth, annual meeting with all family members, then you need a lot of money. Then they open a special book when everyone gives 500 francs. And during the event, everyone helps you in organizing it.
It's like a common fund.
Yes.
And how many wives do they have here in the village?
In principle, it can go up to 4. But there are some men, especially in the city. The first wife was given by the mother, there is no choice. Then you get the second because you have a crisis, you are 30 years old, you have a crisis, you want your own wife. Then at 40 you have a second crisis, at 50 you have a third crisis, and then you have a heart attack and that's it. This is not only for donkeys, but especially for horses, for goats and rams, because rams are very much appreciated in our country. We have many Muslim holidays during which it is necessary to sacrifice a ram. Here I know this is their kitchen. You see a typical kitchen, they put a little bit from afar, near the water, to hide their belongings there. And if it is very cold, to cook in the middle.
So this is the kitchen.
A kitchen, yes.
And this?
This is the kitchen, and here they cook on the street. Here is where they wash themselves, and they are rich because they made a septic pipe for themselves.
How much does it cost to make a well?
Depends on the depth. But the cheapest ones I know cost about 80 to 100,000. The simplest, well, to just have a hole in the ground. But it can go up to 500,000, it depends on the depth. And it depends whether they will install a pump motor, solar batteries and so on.
How much does the family need a month? Do they have some kind of budget for a month over their life?
There is no such thing.
Well, $100, $200.
This understanding is a European concept, unfortunately. They work differently here. Here they work, they have their own garden in which they grow millet, corn, peanuts during the rainy season, and it depends on what harvest they get. They can know then how much money they will leave for food and how much they will buy, or how much they will do barter. But it is impossible to talk about average budget. Today someone will send them 10,000 francs, they will buy a bag of rice and sugar for 10,000. And they will live with this rice and sugar for a whole month. Do you understand?
What are they saving for now? What do they need? Do they have any goals?
Goals? To leave.
Well, maybe they are saving up for something, the well, for example.
Women are saving up, as I told you. They are collecting money to keep a small business here. The ones that save 250, 500 francs each, when they save 5,000, for example, they can buy goods for 5,000, bring it, go to the weekly market, buy goods, bring it and sell it. to make some profit. This is the kind of business they have. Well, to give you an understanding, there is a maid, for example, in the city. She works for a whole month and receives 60,000. 60,000 is a little less than 90 euros. 100 is 615 francs, and with this money, she tries to live and help the family however she can. So it's hard to talk about a monthly budget. Well, here we are in one of the houses, and here you can see how the whole thing works. They use clippings from old magazines to decorate the ceiling, for example. They took some magazines, some pages, attached them all over the ceiling. The house is very simple. It is made from straw, a very simple one. The roof is covered with some rags, some paper, some oil clothes, whatever they could find. And this is very poor, but nevertheless, even in such an environment, they are trying to create some kind of comfort, so they decorate as much as they can. There are two beds here. And now, you see, they decorated the ceiling with pages from magazines. This is how such an ordinary rustic house looks like. 3-4 people can sleep on each bed. There is no mattress, there are just boards and hay under the rags. And the house is literally made of some kind of rubbish. Here you can see some oil clothes, something else. Here, all the same, they decorate the walls with some kind of fabric as they can. The tree is called nymph, this tree over here. You can see the flowers. There will be yellow flowers. They pull out such a plant from it. When it is yellow, it is ripe. And pharmacists buy it and they make quinine from it. And quinine, as you know, is the base of all drugs against malaria. No one helps them here at all. No pensions, no benefits, nothing. They just survive. They live thanks to the family. Because in Africa, the family is not just dad, mom and children, it's everyone. And you see, when the family is big, according to statistics, someone will earn, someone will help, someone will be sick, someone will study, and this is how they help each other. For example, there is a school here, but it's about 2 kilometers from here, which means children who go to school, they should wake up early in the morning and run to school.
Do they just walk to school on foot?
Yeah, and not all of them. Usually in families, the first 2-3 children will go to school, and the rest will never go to school.
Everything is in order. A special barbed fence, so that no one gets in there. There is a donkey over there, in the shade. And here everything is in heaps. Everything is very neat. And as I understand it, they simply burn the garbage on the outskirts. That is, they take the trash out here and the garbage is simply burned right on the outskirts.
They burn wood, paper too. If glass is shattered, they put it in the cement and put on roofs, on curbs. They reuse it without problems. If you haven't finished your food, a Taliban will. If the Taliban hasn't finished, a goat will. If the goat hasn't finished, then a cat will. But someone will anyway. Or the sun will warm it up so much, then it will immediately melt in the sand. But plastic is not reusable.
There are no diapers.
It is very expensive.
Yeah, and what about pads for women?
This is a luxury. It is all like in the old days. They have clothes which they wash very quickly. They teach children to sit, lean back against something, and poop.
As I said, Senegal lies on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, of course, many people here go fishing. Now we are going to look at the amazing boats, which should be on the shore. Boats of incredible beauty. This is simply the pinnacle of Senegalese boating art. So we are now going to see how it all happens. A local artist! Oh wow! Nuts! This is how beauty appears. I wonder how much it costs to brand this boat. And the children have small toy boats. While their parents are fishing, children are playing with small metal boats in the same sea.
Yes, it's certainly amazing, these huge wooden boats. And now fishermen are returning here with their catch. This is how they pull out their boats. Fishing is a traditional industry in Senegal, which developed here for centuries. Today it brings the country about a quarter of its export earnings. Fish and seafood are the staples of the Senegalese diet. At the same time, about half of the population of Senegal lives below the poverty line, and 1 in 6 suffers from food shortages. And this is in a country where people start fishing almost before they talk. You would ask, how is this even possible? The thing is that every year it becomes more and more difficult to fish. And it's not a question of government restrictions or high industry taxes. If before the coastal zone was really teeming with mackerel, tuna, squid and sardines, now fishermen often have almost empty nets. Only shrimps the size of a little finger get into them. The fact is that not only the Senegalese themselves catch fish here on their little boats, but also Chinese with the Europeans. And they do it on an industrial scale. Senegal has a number of fisheries agreements with the European Union. France and Spain are allowed to fish 1,000 tons of tuna and hake in Senegalese waters. Russian companies are also engaged in fishing in West Africa. And this is not to mention the Chinese, who fish on their trawlers sometimes without any permissions at all. The situation is so critical that according to data of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, due to overfishing, about 90% of the world's fisheries are on the verge of collapse. Which means the problem concerns not only Senegal. It's just that here it is especially noticeable. According to the New York Times, most Chinese ships are so large that they can catch as much fish in a week as Senegalese boats do per year. The situation for fishermen in Senegal is so bad that some send their children to Europe by sea, and many die along the way. Here, the women are already sorting out the catch. That's what was caught. And here the fishermen live. On the shore, they have their huts here. Oh, they are cooking these seashells. Wow. So, we are invited to... Ah, come on. They are playing here. This is a gaming club. This is a small fishing village of Mboro on the shores of Atlantic Ocean. And tourists rarely come here, so people react cautiously. Nobody really comes here, but it is very beautiful here. You get the true African flavor here. These painted boats, an amazing identity. Places where globalization has not yet reached. Places where you can still see how interesting and diverse our world is. But the only problem is that people are mostly extremely hostile to cameras. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of religious prejudice in this regard, but there are also those who ask for pictures. And how much do fishermen earn in general? A lot. Really? Yes, but there are many of them. The one who owns the ship earns most money. And usually the owner of the ship supports his family, and maybe 2 or 3 people who work for him. But they sell all the fish, and with great profit. They are rich people. Someone arrived, yes? Some ship? Well, almost all of them have already come back, I was told so. The ships have arrived and the women have already... They put everything right on the oilcloth? Yeah, right away, immediately. They buy the fish right away and sell it right there. The biggest and the nicest fish are given immediately to the wife, to sell it to restaurants and so on. The rest they will put up for sale right now. Men carry the catch and wholesale, and most women buy and sell little ones. Well, usually they buy a whole bucket and then sell it in small amounts. This is big. She says that the fish is so beautiful that you have to hide it. They decorate boats with American flags a lot. Why? They just really like it. By law, each boat must have a number, and they put the number on the back, and everything else is at their discretion. Often they put either the name of the owner or the name of their religious leader. Look, this boat can carry 2-3 tons. This boat. There are some that go up to 15 to 20 tons. Such a boat will cost about 3-5 million francs. It depends on how new it is, how clean, depends on a good motor. You see, this big... How much do they cost? How much does a spiny lobster cost? This one is 10,000 francs for a kilo, and this one is 12.5 thousand. Squids, 3.5 thousand. 3.5 thousand for a kilogram. Like many African countries, Senegal is extremely poor. According to the World Monetary Fund, in 2021 the country was ranked 107th in the world by GDP, behind Zimbabwe, which I also have a video about. If we look at GDP per capita, Senegal is 159th in the world, below Uzbekistan, India or Côte d'Ivoire. According to the CIA, around 40% of Senegal's population lives below the poverty line, and the Human Development Index is lower here than in Rwanda, Lesotho and Papua New Guinea. The rapper Akon decided to improve the situation in Senegal, who, although was born in the USA, spent most of the childhood in Africa. Apparently, after watching the movie Black Panther, Akon decided to build a super tech city, Akon City, 100 kilometers away from Dakar. Everyone would use e-currency there, A-coins. But for now, ordinary Senegalese have to do without Akon's help. Those who live in Dakar, what is considered a good monthly salary? What is considered middle class? Well, we actually have a very stretched concept of middle class, because those are considered middle class who has a guaranteed monthly salary. What salary should it be? Well, a secretary, for example, starts with a salary of about 50,000 a month. 50,000, it is a bit above 83 bucks a month. It is considered a great salary if it reaches $350,000–400,000 per month. It means she has 10 years of experience. On average, we have a choice between government work, which has a small salary but a guaranteed one, and a guaranteed pension, or private jobs. What is government work? These are advisors, those who work in the inspections, in public administration. How much do they earn? When my parents started, their salary was 75,000. And when they were already retiring, their salary was somewhere around 350,000 per month. And now they receive a pension 125,000–135,000 a month. Well, this is what public sector can offer. Of course, if you are a state minister, you get 5 million francs. If you are a CEO and you are on the board of direction of a state enterprise, you will get about 2 million. But there are very few of these jobs compared to the majority. Teachers, for example, in our schools, in secondary and high schools, they receive 150,000–200,000 per month at max. And to understand what this means, you have to compare it with life. A bread costs 150 francs. 10 brands, 1,500 francs. If you buy a bread per day, you have to spend 4.5 thousand a month. If you have a salary of 50,000, you spend 1/10 of your salary on bread. Usually, when you get an average salary, it only helps that you are not the only one working in the family. Because if you work alone in the family, of course, it's a nightmare. The cheapest rent in Dakar, the very cheapest, is around 50,000–80,000, and it is one room in one apartment. Gorée Island is located 2.5 kilometers from Dakar. It is only 350 meters wide, and in length it doesn't reach a kilometer. A little over 1,000 people live on the island. There are no cars and you can only get here by ferry. Now tourists are brought here.
But from the 15th to the 19th century, this island was one of the largest slave trade centers. Gorée Island was almost abandoned when Dakar was built in the 19th century, and the slave trade was banned. The island is now one of the 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Senegal. In general, friends, if you miss noisy guides, tour guides, sellers, and all kinds of junk, then it is here where you should come. On the other hand, we have restaurants abandoned due to the coronavirus here, where no one attacks you. When they say a paradise island, apparently this is what they mean, because there are no cars here. Only walks along pretty streets. Look how beautiful. Well, again, there are no crowds of tourists due to the coronavirus, which pleases me a lot. First, here we have the exploitation of child labor, but that's okay, it can still be forgiven. But how can they be forgiven for choosing to whitewash the trees? All this crap with whitewashing reached even the distant paradise islands of Senegal. This alley of baobabs leads to the fort, which local artists use as a background for their canvases. Some art here, amazing pictures of the baobab trees, and women carrying water. Just at the top, where the fort is, it's so beautiful here. First, there's a very nice monument. Second, life is simple here. Someone is drying clothes on the trees, it's untidy everywhere, just like we love it. Someone washed their underpants and socks. And the former weapons that stood here, they turned into their homes. Look at an amazing little house here. Well, at least it's safe. They already have a bunker in case of war. God, they lost everything. They broke the benches. The street lights are rusting over there. Look, guys, how beautiful the city becomes if there are no cars. Yes, that's how it often happens, the remnants of former luxury. But at least it's sincere. Tourists don't come here. No one needs the architectural heritage, and the locals adapted these former rich houses to cattle corrals and warehouse of some junk. But they themselves live in more comfortable small houses, which they added here to these palaces. And here suddenly we have urbanism and some kind of improvement. Wow! They built a square. Like in the other former French colonies in Africa, in Senegal they love football. Firstly, because you don't need anything to play it, except for at least some kind of a ball. And secondly, because football gives Senegalese children a chance to get out of poverty. The Senegal national football team made its way to the World Cup 3 times. In their first attempt in 2002, they reached the quarterfinals. That's also when Senegal beat its former colonists, France. The Senegal team also came to the World Cup in Qatar and even managed to progress past the group stage. They are the current champions of the Africa Cup of Nations. Local boys are fans of the leader of the national team, Sadio Mané. And those who are older remember the heroes of the beginning of the century, El Hadji Diouf and Henry Camara.
Only 4 they have certificate, others doesn't have. Others doesn't have any certificate. So they don't exist in this country.
No, you know this country, let me say in general in Africa, let me say 60% don't have document. 40% have, but 60% don't have.
60% doesn't have it?
Yes. If they mean in Taliban, they cannot have good education, they will become criminal in the street, some will become thief, and some, you know, they will not have good education. So our plan is to put them together. There are many Taliban in this country, but we cannot take all of them. Understand? The food we can take, so we can take care of them, you know. But this is Jean, this is Momo Salou. So they are the Taliban, so they're determined to play football. But for me, at the same time, I want them to play football and they'll go to school, you know. I met with this boy, let me see, 6 months ago.
6 months ago?
Yes.
Where?
August, by this place, by Kurasima Wakam, in the streets, they are begging. So I see them the first time, second time, I see that they are playing between themselves. So I called them, I say, did you want to play football? They say yes.
All of the kids are living in such conditions.
All?
Yes. All
Yes. All of them you see in that live in this kind of
in this
condition.
village.
Yes.
Okay.
All of them, you know, live in this kind of condition. If you want, we can take two person again. We go where they are staying. You see again. Because in my team, youngsters boy, I only take people who come in poor home and children who live in the street. You understand? That's called youngsters boy. That's why I give young academy name youngsters boy, because it's the kids we come from the street, Taliban.
Some of the children in Coach Musa's team are Taliban. This is the name of the students of Islamic schools in West Africa. These are the schools for street children and children from poor families. The students live on the welfare of the school, but they have to pay for it. Because of this, Taliban children often have to beg on the street. According to the UN, Taliban children fall victim to violence and to bullying in their schools.
Because me too are facing the same problem the time I was in Guinea-Conakry. You know, I faced the same problem the time I was small. You know, and secondly, in Africa general, if you have talent, you know, have no opportunity, they will not consider you. So one man bring me in one team. We call this team Barca in Guinea. So Barca in Guinea, I play little, so everybody say Musa know how to play football. I play in Sierra Leone, from Sierra Leone I came to Senegal, you know. So it's that I play my football. I was playing street football before. From there, I start to become professional footballer, you know. You see, even this my friend Jalou, we play together in the same team. He was champion in Senegal, Wakam. You see, so the time I opened this activity for children in the streets, so I call up all of them to come and help me, you know. So only me cannot do the job, you know. And Mila for Africa do many jobs, you know, for children here. You know, I very appreciate him what he's doing for Taliban children in the street. And most of them you see they change like this before. They don't even have clothes. Some they have clothes who no good. Who give to them. You see, some them come like this. You see, before he came, no shoes, no vest to play. Understand? So I take him from the street, change the way he's living. I say he will be professional football and like a big player.
Senegal turned out to be a bright and colorful country, which is hard to live in, but very interesting to visit. I will also tell you about how hard life is for Senegalese albinos. Be sure to hit the bell button so you don't miss new videos. Subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media to learn about other exciting places of our planet. And share our videos with your friends on WhatsApp.